guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tanita, and on this channel we talk about spirituality, the law of attraction, personal development, things like that. So if you want to create the life of your wildest dreams and join our beautiful spiritual family, I know it's been a minute since I've been here. A lot of things are going on, a lot of manifestations are happening, you know, a lot of schoolwork, things like that. So this video is going to be different from my other videos because normally I'm straight on point. I talk really quickly, you know, I just have one quick message that I share. I don't really get into details of anything. So most of my videos are like 10 minutes long, some even shorter. But I decided that I'm going to sit down with you today and actually talk it out. I'm not going to edit this video as much. I just want to give you as many details as possible. This is for those of you who are very curious about how to increase your manifesting ability. Today I will be talking about specific person manifestation as well as manifestation of changes in a person. So whether it be a person that you need something from, whether it be a person that you have a conflict with, how do you make them change with the law of attraction? This is the topic that we're going to cover today, and it's also going to bring up the topic of specific person, obviously, because when we manifest a specific person, we manifest a specific person changing in a way or another, right? We manifest them acting in a certain way, we manifest them being attracted to us. So this is what we're covering today. So, you know, I talk about Neville Goddard quite a lot on this channel. He's my favorite spiritual teacher. I have read and reread all his works. I have listened to all of his lectures, and I really recommend that you go to the source directly and check him out, because I honestly think that he's one of the only spiritual teachers who really has every single detail figured out. Now, obviously, before you get into reading Neville Goddard, I want to warn you, he writes from a Christian perspective. He uses scripture to support the idea of the law of attraction or manifestation, but I'm not Christian. I don't relate to Christianity whatsoever. I was actually raised Muslim, but I still really enjoyed reading all of his work. It's really straight to the point. The Power of Imagination is probably the best. There's also a couple of other books. If you need any recommendations, you know, the comment section is down below. But yeah, let's finally get into the topic. How to get your specific person, how to get anyone to do what you want them to do, how to change people. Now, I know a lot of spiritual teachers say that you can't do that and you shouldn't mess with that. It's just a waste of your time. I'm gonna tell you from my personal experience, you absolutely 100% can change people. Now, what I want to warn you about is ask yourself whether you really want to limit yourself this way. You know, do you really want this particular person to change? Do you really need this particular thing from this particular person when your opportunities are truly limitless and you don't have to actually, you know, limit yourself to that particular person? But I do understand that in certain scenarios we do want a person to act differently, right? If we have someone that we don't get along with, if we have someone that we need something from but we don't want to ask them or we can't ask them, or if we want our specific person to like us, to want to be in a relationship with us, what do we do then? So the first thing that you need to understand, there is no distinction between your subconscious mind and your physical reality. You have to take responsibility for your life. You have to understand that everything you experience on the physical plane is a reflection of who you are on a subconscious level. Now, this can be uncomfortable, of course, because we don't want to take responsibility for our lives. We want to be victims. Our egos love to play victims. This is not happening because of this. This is not happening because of that. Or I've seen people, especially those who are just getting into the law of attraction, they pick and choose what the law of attraction works for, you know what I mean? And other things are just coincidences. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Everything you experience, the tiniest details, are all synchronistic. Everything is a reflection of your subconscious beliefs. The world is simply reflecting to you what you are, what you believe in, how you feel. In this way, the world is a mirror through which you can learn about yourself. The world is a playground for you to discover who you are and what needs to change for you to have a better experience. First and foremost, you have to take this statement as truth. Take responsibility for your life, for everything that happens. Now, this doesn't mean that you are at fault for bad things that are happening to you. Obviously, you're not at fault for bad things that happen to you, especially those things that we have no physical control over. Control is a weird word because we really have no control over anything, but you know what I'm saying. Those events that really seem like we had nothing to do with, and it was such an unfortunate incident that happened to us. Yeah, you're not at fault for those, but they do reflect what you believe in the universe, right? They do reflect how you're feeling, what you're thinking, who you are on a subconscious level, and you have to take responsibility for your life. And it's uncomfortable, but it's also empowering, because then you know that if you change from within, the reality around you will absolutely change. So in this way, if we're talking about other people and how we impact other people act in accordance to what we believe about them, right? All the beliefs work in the same way, and the reality reflects them in the same way. In a sense, you're recycling the same beliefs all the time because, you know, when you were a kid, you saw certain things that made you believe a certain thing, so your reality followed those beliefs. Then when you were more mature, when you were able to make conclusions, you looked at your reality that you created with your beliefs and you said, well, you know, that's what reality is. So you formed those beliefs even stronger. And then reality keeps reflecting at you those beliefs that you have, and you keep saying, well, yeah, obviously, like that's how the world works. But the truth is, it's only reflecting, so you're recycling the same experiences. For you to believe something different, something inside should change. So once again, when we're talking about other people reflect what you believe about them, right? So if you believe someone to be a mean boss, they're going to reflect that, and they're going to make your life uncomfortable. They're going to make your life hard because you believe that they're there to get you. And now, how do we change that? We change our perspective of that person. The easiest thing to do is to not contact that person, because then we're free to imagine them in whatever way we want to. I understand that it's not always possible. Maybe it's someone that you interact with on a daily basis, but let's say if it's a specific person who, you know, you keep harassing over text messages, then don't do that. Don't reach out to them. You have to change your perspective on the situation, on them, on who they are before things change. So no matter how much you reach out to them, how much you try to get their attention, they're not going to give it to you until you and your mind about them changes. So what you do in this case is you change your perspective on who they are. And how do we do that? The easiest way to do that is to focus on the good things that you know about them. Everyone has good sides. Even the most horrible of people have good sides. There's something lovable about everyone, and if we focus on those things and we feel grateful for those things, then we get them to change. I mean, I am sure you know this from your personal experience, even on a minor level. When someone is freaking out or they're being rude or mean to you, if you react to it with positivity and kindness and compassion, immediately the way that they act changes. They start freaking out less. They start being nicer because they feel weird about yelling at someone who is nice to them. If you reflect their negativity back to them, they will only have more justification for freaking out, for acting weirdly, right? So this is my point. Focus on the good sides of people. Okay, so here's the summary of this point, right? If you want someone to act differently, you have to perceive them differently. Their future different actions have to be believable to you. They have to be something that you expect of them. So if you want someone to be kinder to you, you have to expect kindness. Your image of them has to change. And one of the ways to do that is to focus on the good things, write the good things, think about the good things, feel grateful for the good things. Now we're going to talk about other techniques. Specifically, we're going to talk about Neville Goddard's SATS, or state akin to sleep. SATS is an abbreviation or an acronym of state akin to sleep. This is a term that's used to describe hypnagogic state. I'm actually not sure whether I got that word right, so I'm going to insert it down here in case I got it wrong, but it's a state in between consciousness and sleep. You know, that last moment of consciousness before you fall asleep, you don't really feel your body, but you're still thinking certain things and envisioning certain images right before you fall asleep. That's the state. This state, my friends, is very, very powerful for manifestation, because at this moment your subconscious mind is very receptive of information that you feed it. Now, once again, your reality is a reflection of your subconscious mind, right? That's why it's hard for you to just manifest out of thin air, because first you have to convince yourself that you actually believe it. And that's why it's hard to be a new manifester, because you have to actually convince yourself that it's possible. And the only way to do that is you have to convince your subconscious mind. That's what holds your beliefs. So that's why hypnagogic state, or SATS, state akin to sleep, is a powerful time and space for manifestation. So Neville Goddard has a powerful, powerful, powerful technique. When you fall asleep, right before you fall asleep, you know that moment when, the best way that I can describe it is, you don't feel your body and you have like weird flashes of images and memories, and you're like, you know that moment when you like feel like you're falling asleep. That is the state that you're trying to achieve. In that moment, you're going to feed your subconscious mind an image of your desire coming true from your perspective, first person perspective, right? And what you're going to do is you're going to focus on one specific scene. Neville Goddard recommends one scene, and you loop it inside your head when you're in hypnagogic state until you feel something. You feel satisfaction, you feel excitement, you feel almost exhaustion from finally realizing your desire. In this moment, your manifestation, what you're envisioning, should be as real to you as real life is. You should not be able to differentiate between what you're imagining and your real life. That's how powerful your imagination should be working at that particular moment. And it takes some time to train yourself to really envision things and feel those things as well, but it works, just practice. Some people are naturally gifted. I think some people can just envision things and they see everything colorfully. Other people not so much. I personally have a problem with attaching my emotions to the images that I'm looping, and I will give you a little hint on how to get rid of that and how to fix that problem in case you're dealing with something like that. So once again, Neville Goddard's technique is to focus on your desire coming true, envisioning, visualizing it coming true from your personal perspective as you fall asleep in that hypnagogic state. As I said, Neville Goddard suggests looping the same exact scene until you really, really feel it. But quite frankly, I think you can pick a variety of different scenes. And I'm telling you this from my successful manifestation stories. I had a number, hundreds of manifestations that came true from different scenes. So this is another point that I wanted to make. Don't really take everything that any spiritual teacher says as 100% accurate and 100% applicable to your manifestation, and 100% you can't experiment with it. The good thing about spirituality is that it's very personal, right? So certain things work best for other people than other things. So experiment with it. The point here, the point in any manifestation activity, is for you to feel like you already have it. Is for you for a moment to transport into that reality, which is the reality of your desire coming true. And the moment that you actually believe it to your very core is the moment that your desire comes true. That's all there is. So I don't think you should be limited to doing one scene. If one scene works for you, I'm sure he has a reason to say why one scene should be the only scene that you envision. Maybe this is the best way to really make sure that every detail of that scene comes true. So if you feel like this message resonates with you, loop the same scene as you're falling asleep. Now, in regards to SATS, it's kind of hard to achieve SATS for anyone that I've talked to. Let's be honest, a couple of my clients were like, yeah, I can't do that. And I had trouble with it myself just because I am such a content and peaceful person nowadays that I fall asleep in like 1 minute. So I don't really notice that jump, that leap from consciousness into non-consciousness, right? So now how do we deal with that? For those of you who have trouble grabbing onto that moment in between consciousness and falling asleep, actually being asleep, I have a couple of suggestions because I'm definitely one of those people. I fall asleep so quickly these days. What I do is I listen to something, to meditative music, or more specifically to binaural beats of theta waves, specific waves that are supposed to put your brain into those relaxation type of brain waves. Sorry, I'm clearly not a scientist, I'm a mystic. Anyway, so listening to this, I notice, really helps me not only get into that state when I want to, if I'm doing a visualization practice during the day, because during the day it can be hard to nap, especially for a person like me, because I'm very type A and I like running from one thing to another, right? But it really helps me. And if you're using it right before bed, you know that you have a task at hand while music is playing. So you will be focusing on your breath, you will be relaxing, at the same time remembering that, hey, I also have to plant the seed of my desire. So this is what I noticed worked every single time since I tried it for the first time. I just played for 30 minutes and maybe after 10 or 5 minutes of listening to the track, I notice that my body is going into that weird state. I don't feel my body. The way that I really know is I don't know which way my palms are laying on the bed or sitting on me. You know what I mean? I don't know whether they're facing up or down. That's how I know that I'm really, really detaching from the body and kind of experiencing more of the astral world. So try that. And once again, as I said, loop the same scene over and over again, but don't feel limited to doing just one scene. You can do several scenes. Now, what kind of scene should you focus on, right? Neville Goddard says focus on the very end goal. So if we're talking about a specific person, then you focus on, after marriage, perhaps. Now, I don't really do it this way necessarily. I think for very big goals it's really good to do that, but I also think focusing on things in between is fine. I know that other spiritual teachers don't think so. Like, I listened to Joseph Ali's video, by the way, it's really great. I really love the guy. Hope that I can manifest his friendship one day. But he says that, when you manifest about the same thing but different scenarios, like you're focusing on different ends, they can kind of intervene with one another. I haven't really connected with this didn't really resonate with me. I think as long as the feeling of having what you want is there, you're not intervening with other desires. So if it didn't make myself clear, I think what he meant is if you're focusing on the marriage when you're doing manifestations, and then all of a sudden you're focusing on getting that text, these are two different manifestations and they may intervene with one another. I don't really see it this way. I think as long as you are energetically aligned with both desires and feel really good about receiving what you deserve. But as I said, my friends, spirituality is very personal, and that's why I suggest you listen to a lot of different YouTubers and teachers and lecturers and figure out what resonates with your higher self. Don't just take anything that I say as 100% fact. I am talking from my own experience, right? But you have your own head on your shoulders. You are connected to the source just like I am, so you can decide for yourself what works. If something feels right, if something feels good and exciting, it's probably working. That's how you'll know, because vibrations don't lie. And when you feel happy and excited, that works. Now, the second technique that I want to talk about is kind of a modification of Neville Goddard's technique. It's a visualization practice, and I talk about it in my How to Get a Text from a Specific Person video. So yeah. So the second technique actually focuses on, harvesting the trauma from the outside. So the second technique is more so related. Yeah. It's more like a hypnagogic state that we're trying to achieve. So now let's talk about another very powerful technique that's not SATS. This is not Neville Goddard's technique. This is something that I discovered works for me. I'm sure people have come up with this before. It's a regular visualization and it's accompanied with music. I actually talked about it in my How to Get a Text from a Specific Person video, and a lot of people reported it to be successful. And right now, at this point in my manifestation journey, I actually use both of these techniques back to back. So first I do musical visualization and then I do SATS. So the reason why I do both of those practices is because I have trouble connecting emotionally to my state akin to sleep visualization, to that looping image. When I didn't do my musical visualization first, I really had trouble emotionally connecting to that looping image. And that's because I'm normally very chill and detached and not very, emotionally driven. I am an air sign. I have a lot of air in my chart. I have fire too, but no water. So I'm definitely not the most emotional person you can meet. So for me, it's very hard to, while I'm falling asleep, to not only envision something but also really feel like I have it. And feeling is important. I wouldn't say it's necessary though. A lot of people say you have to feel it, but it doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes, you just think about something and it comes to you, and that's because your subconscious mind took that instantly. Sometimes that happens, and that doesn't mean that you felt that thought very deeply. It just means that somehow your subconscious mind just took that in and was able to manifest it for you. So no, you don't have to feel it, but feeling helps. Feeling allows your subconscious to understand it. If you think about it in terms of, energy, feminine and masculine, your conscious mind is your masculine mind and your subconscious is your feminine mind. So the masculine impregnates the feminine, and you can never coerce the feminine. Think about it, ladies, gentlemen. You can't coerce the feminine. It's the most important thing that I learned from Neville. You can't force your subconscious mind to believe something. It has to be gentle, introducing of ideas. And the reason why a lot of people struggle initially with manifestation is because they try to coerce their subconscious mind to believe a certain thing. They try to use affirmations, which actually just raises resistance from subconscious because it's feminine. Feminine energy doesn't like being coerced. Introducing beliefs has to be very natural, and your subconscious mind, your feminine side of you, responds well to images, thus visualization, and feelings. Thus you have to evoke a feeling within you. Now I have trouble attaching to that looping image. So what I do now is I do my technique from that how to get a text video, and I actually listen to music and visualize the same thing right before I do my SATs. And this really helps me. I am a music person, you know. Music can make me feel things, can make me really relate to things, even though before music I couldn't care less about the looping image that's coming. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just don't want to do it. When I introduce music to my visualization, I truly can feel like I am there. And I'm sure there are a lot of people like me. Music evokes emotion, right? Music is a universal language, and I think you should utilize it. So I do that. I really make myself feel it. You know, I cry, I'm right there, I got it, and then I do my SATs. And this way, because I already felt it, I'm still connected to that emotion, so it's easier for me to loop that image when I already had that emotion attached to it. So it's easier for me to feel. So once again, this is another visualization practice that I really suggest. Visualize with music. Your visualization doesn't necessarily always have to be in the state akin to sleep. Yes, it's probably the best way to do it just because your subconscious mind is really receptive to information, but you can be conscious, fully conscious, and successfully visualize your desire to fruition. That I did that hundreds of times before. So that works as well, and I think the reason why it works so well for me is because I really am able to evoke emotion. And if music is something that you can connect to, and I'm sure most of us can, try it, utilize it. Try both of these techniques at the same time and see how powerful you actually are. Now, I also want to talk about something that my friend actually introduced to me a couple of months ago. I actually filmed a video on that already, but I decided not to post it. You can change people, or you can get your specific person by envisioning things not first person. So you know, all of the visualizations tell us imagine first person because that's how you experience world. But my friend taught me something that I thought was very useful. So his story is, he had a student, right? He's a tutor for a student who was very good. She was a really good financial opportunity for him. The type of classes that she took, it was expensive, you know. She was willing to take long classes and stuff like that, but she was very flaky. And he was just sick and tired of her being flaky because she would book like a 3-hour class and then not show up, and that would take away from his money he could have gotten from other students. So he basically ditched her. Then after the summer ended and the school year began, he started thinking, well, maybe, you know, maybe it's kind of sad that I lost that student because she was bringing in a lot of money. I really wish that she wasn't that flaky, you know. I would love to take her back. And my friend, being himself, and he really, you know, is on the same page with me in terms of manifestation, he just decided, I am going to make it happen. And what he did is interesting because he didn't imagine himself having her as a student again. He imagined himself being her, thinking thoughts about him. So he imagined himself being a student, that student, and thinking, man, like, that tutor was really great. I'm really sad that I don't have him in my life anymore. Like, I really need him. Ugh, maybe I should try to reach out to him. I will not be flaky anymore. Like, I really am going to be responsible about it. So he thought about it all the time for a couple of days. And guess what? Out of nowhere, 4 or 5 months after they talked last time, she called him and she asked to be his student again. So here's the thing. You can pretend like you're someone else and think their thoughts. And as long as you convince yourself that, yeah, it's happening, yeah, this is real, this is going to happen. You don't need to know whether these people are actually thinking these thoughts. You don't need to know anything. This is not coercion. All you need to know is that we're all one, right? And this is a way of influencing other people. Now, before we get into the whole free will situation, I have a whole video on that, free will and manifestation, how they work together. I'm going to link it down below. when you manifest someone to change, or when you manifest someone to do something for you, you're not actually impacting them, you're not actually changing them, you're not coercing anyone into anything. Like I said, you can't coerce the universe to act in your way. You have to do it through faith and grace. Now, what happens here, and I'm not a quantum physicist, right? I don't actually know exactly for a fact how this works, but all I know is somehow it works. Somehow you can impact other people. And the way that I see it, what I found out from my personal meditation experience is there are infinite number of possibilities. They're all happening in the same time. And it's not that you're forcing, you know, your ex to fall in love with you again, but rather you're aligning with the version of the universe where they are in love with you. There's no coercion. You're just matching the vibration of your desire and moving into that universe, into that reality where your specific person is acting differently. You're not forcing anyone into anything. So when my friend did that, he didn't force that girl to call him, right? He just aligned with the universe where she called him. And the point here is you can visualize from other people's perspective, surprise, and that's why I tell you there are no rules. As long as it feels good, as long as it makes you excited and it makes you believe that it's going to happen, it's working. Now, let's talk about probably the most important thing in any manifestation. Everything that I'm talking about is applicable to all your desires, not your specific person, not necessarily just related to changing people, but what do you do afterwards, right? You plant the seed. What happens next? So you have to let go. And I know that you've heard this hundreds of times before, and I think a lot of the times when people talk about it, they don't actually tell us how. I actually need to rewatch my own video on letting go and figure out whether I actually gave solid advice on that, because I feel like most of the time it's just people just suggest letting go and you're like, but how do I do that? I found that the best way to let go is to actually focus on yourself. Now, what does it mean to let go? Let's establish that first. First and foremost, have you let go? You will know the answer to this question. If you feel desperate and needy, if you feel ambitious and, you know, I'm gonna get that, you haven't let go. I know this may feel good. I know that feeling like I'm so desperate to get it and I will get it can feel empowering to our ego, because sometimes we like being motivated by negative stuff, you know. A lot of the times, like if you're at the rock bottom, you're like, yes, I'm so motivated to get to the top. So a lot of the times feeling like I'm desperate to get it and I'll do anything to get it makes us feel empowered, but this is not the vibration that we're actually looking for. The vibration that we're looking for is that of peace, of tranquility, of happiness, of just knowing that you have it. You already have it. The moment that you say that you have it, you have it. Just time is not real. So the moment you declare that it's yours, it's yours. And creation is not linear. Everything that has been created and will be created, Neville Goddard says it, has been created in eternity. So everything exists already. Whatever you want, your specific person, whatever it is, it's already yours the moment you declare it. So if you're wondering, is it coming to me? Guess what? You are actually debating your manifestation, right? So you're actually preventing yourself, pushing that manifestation forward away from you because you're questioning it. A person who is certain that their manifestation is coming wouldn't ask that question. Is it working? Of course it's working. Of course it's working. Your reality is a reflection of your subconscious mind. So if you believe something, it is yours. That's the law. And if you're still questioning, then you don't believe it. And if you don't believe it, then your desire is a little bit further away than we would like you to. You have to convince yourself. Now, obviously, you have to let go. You cannot be desperate. Your energy absolutely cannot be that of desperation. You have to be positive and excited and peaceful. In fact, I would say the best way to know that you let go of something, I don't know whether it's applicable to all things, but I think most things would be right, is if you would be okay with not having it. You know, if you're so happy and so at peace that you know it's yours, but God, if it didn't happen, you would be happy regardless. You're not desperate. You're happy regardless. You're living in the moment. This is the vibration that we're looking for. And as I said, the best way to reach that vibration is to focus on yourself. That's the only tangible advice that I can give you. Because let me tell you, I am a type A type of woman, so I tend to get really obsessive with things that I want. Even when I don't care about it that much, I tend to get quite obsessive because I want to get what I want. You know, I want to be the winner or whatever. And that masculine part of my personality leaves me not feeling very at peace. So focusing on yourself and your own goals and other manifestations is what you need to do in the meantime. If you find yourself questioning, did it work? Once again, do the SATS, do visualization every single day. Do everything that you need to do to feel like you have it. Because you wouldn't have that question if you truly believed it. You know what I mean? When you order something off of Amazon, I know a lot of people compare it to that because it's an easy comparison. You're not asking, did it actually work? You know what I mean? After you put your order in, no one is asking, did it go through? No, you just know it's coming. So if you're still asking, then clearly you don't know how to operate Amazon or the universe. So it's no problem if you're still asking. If you're asking, it's a good thing because now you know, well, maybe I don't believe quite yet, so I need to address that. And how do you do that? Repeat SATS, convince yourself, just have faith. I suggest reading a lot of success stories just to solidify your belief in the law in yourself, just to make manifestation easier for you. Neville Goddard has a lot of success stories in his stuff. The Secret.tv website, you know, the Secret documentary, has a website where they post success stories. There are Reddit law of attraction related posts and groups where you can see success stories. Read those. Feel inspired. Focus on yourself. Should you think about your desire during the day? If it makes you feel good, yeah. If you think about your desire and, you know, negative things still come up for you, especially if it's in relation to a specific person, because that can be tough. You know, if you think about something and you had a fight, right? They have not talked to you in months. If you think about them a lot and all this negative stuff comes up, this is a sign that there is still that underlying belief that's manifesting for you, that negativity. You need to address that. You need to rewrite your narrative. Do whatever it is you need to do for you to believe differently. That's all. Focus on yourself. Most importantly, focus on self-love. And I know this is like not very fun. I know manifesting a specific person is much more fun. Creating scenarios about romance in your head is much more fun than loving yourself. I know that. I know. Our ego doesn't like loving ourselves because then we feel safe, and our ego doesn't like feeling safe. But here's the thing. When you focus on loving yourself, especially in regards to specific person manifestation, that's how you get them back quickly. Because the moment that you're really telling yourself, you know, I am that bitch, I am that king, I am that person, I really am doing these magnificent things, I really am recreating my life through just the power of my mind, I really have found faith to believe. When you really start treasuring yourself and understand your true unlimited worth, that's when you're not attached to the outcome about your specific person, because you know that you're not losing anything. They're losing something by not having you. You're not losing anything because you're connected to the source. You are a divine creature and you have that recognition, right? And that's the moment you let go of your desire. So focusing on yourself, focusing on your self-worth, focusing on self-love is actually helping you manifest your specific person. The moment that you are obsessed with yourself, okay, obsessed with yourself may be an exaggeration, but the moment that you truly recognize your worth is actually the moment that you receive your significant person, because that is the moment when you don't need them. You don't need anybody, honey. You are a child of God, right? never think that you're not worthy of anyone. You're worthy of everything you want. So the moment that you realize that you don't need anyone and you don't actually feel like you need them, that's when they come back to you, right? That's it. It's that simple. So if you're asking me what to do in the meantime, the first thing is focus on yourself, focus on your own growth, focus on self-love. If you're thinking about your manifestation and negative feelings show up, address them. Figure it out. Why do you feel negatively about them? That means you're still not believing. Then you're wasting your time visualizing if these negative things still come up a lot. You have to address that. You have to rewrite that narrative. I know a lot of people who do visualization at night and then during the day they think all these negative things. They don't actually believe it. Here's the way that I understand the law. It's not the manifestation activity or visualization or scripting that's going to make your desire come to fruition. I'm sorry, this is not a magic spell. These things are designed to make you believe that you have it. That's the purpose of these things. They're not magic rituals for you to automatically have it. They are designed for you to convince your subconscious mind that you already have what you want, and that's how you get it. So if you do your little activities at night, but then during the day you don't believe it, you are not on the path to your desire, because what manifests in your life? Your subconscious beliefs. But doing manifestation activities at night, doing SATS, doing visualization, doing scripting, they help you believe those things. So understand that by doing one visualization, you don't make your desire come true. What makes your desire come true is actually you believing it. Is you actually believing it. I'm sorry. Anyway, so before I wrap up this video, I think this is a long one, right? I don't know, I'm gonna see when I edit it. I really just try to give you guys a talkative video this time, but let's just summarize it real quick. Today's video topic was manifestation of this specific person or manifestation of changes in anyone. The first thing that we really talked about is your consciousness or your subconscious mind is your reality. So for you to experience changes in your reality, you have to change. When it comes to people and them being different, you wanting them to be different, you have to change your perception on them. And how do you do that? You focus on the positive things about them, on all the good things about them. Believe me, they have good sides. Now, we talked about the most powerful visualization technique. SATS, state akin to sleep. Visualization practice, Neville Goddard suggested that you can use right before you fall asleep, where you loop the image when you're in hypnagogic state and you make yourself feel like you already have it. The same image of you receiving your desire. Neville Goddard suggests focusing on the very end. So if you're wanting a specific person, then it would be being with them already, or maybe getting married, whatever it is you want from the relationship, right? Or if you want someone to give you a raise, focus on what life is like with that raise, right? Although I told you not to limit yourself, you can imagine getting that raise. It's fine, just as long as it makes you believe it. Now, you can also use musical visualization, which is something that I use right before SATS or any other time. Play music, your favorite music, while you're visualizing. Make yourself feel something, because music truly makes us connected to our emotions, and the point is for you to believe that that very moment that you're visualizing, it's real. It has to be vividly real. Now, the last thing that we talked about is letting go. If you're asking yourself, is it working? You may need to convince yourself that it is, because if you're sure in your manifestation, if you truly have faith in it, you're not questioning it. It's working, honey. Don't question it. Everything you want is already yours. So let go, focus on yourself, have fun. And this is what we talked about today. I think this is all. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions. I have a lot of time in quarantine, so I'll try to get back to you. And also let me know if you like this format of the video or not, because I feel like I kind of went off tangent a little bit here and there, but hopefully you enjoyed. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.